In the rolling hills and hollers of the South, there's a vine that creeps into every shadowy, forgotten corner, climbing trees, blanketing fences, and smothering old farmhouses. Kudzu is more than just a plant. It's a metaphor for how things grow wild when left to their own devices. Beauty and chaos not only coexist here, but are also one and the same. The Kudzu Project tries to make sense of it all. The small-town struggles, the entangled lives, the deep roots, and the common thread that stitches our communities together. Join us wherever you download podcasts for fresh dispatches from the venerable South with our host, Nick Lucy.
Bryan, known as B Squared, you are a man about town. You have a great voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's why you're often called to MC events. And you also have a great love for this community.
Yeah. I've got a love affair with Hendersonville and Henderson County.
I see you everywhere. I hear you everywhere. I had to have you on the show. You're my 8th interview. You're my 8th victim on the show. It's the Kudzu Project. I suppose you'll want to know why it's called the Kudzu Project.
Yeah.
I like the word kudzu. I just think it's a neat word, and it's a neat thing. And it's, to me, it's analogous with growing in a community, taking roots and spreading out throughout an area. So
It saved the South.
yeah. How did it save the South?
Kudzu saved the South from erosion, overlogging, and over farming. And the idea was, this magic plant is going to keep it all from washing down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow. So we're going to cut through the kudzu
All right.
today and get to the story of B Squared. Our tagline is everybody has a story. So I figure you have to have a good story. You speak so well and so eloquently. You have to have a good story.
I'm still writing it.
Are you? Well, as long as you're still alive, you're still writing your story, I guess.
Yeah. I think my favorite story, and I hope it's the one that is the most relevant, is I think Hendersonville finds you. I know people that have lived here their whole life or came back, and they still have a story about how Hendersonville found them or found their family. And I think Hendersonville found me because I didn't know it existed 20 years ago. All I knew is that I wanted to live closer to the Smoky Mountains. So my father's career, we moved around a lot. And the only thing consistent in my life, 54 years, is when I think about time off, I want to go to the mountains. But I didn't know Hendersonville existed. I don't think you could do the same research I did in maybe 2008, 2009, 2010 and not know Hendersonville existed. It's on the map now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the time, I really didn't know it was here. I just knew that Asheville was one of the places I wanted to investigate because it was near an airport and the mountains. What little did I know is Hendersonville would find me and I would fall in love.
Where did your journey begin, Bryan?
Oh, wow. The original journey?
The original journey.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
The Byrd family and the Short family are both from Memphis, Tennessee, after originally immigrating there from the Smoky Mountains. So if you go back farther, we just came home.
So you just came home.
Yeah. And so my father was in television news, worked for WMC Channel 5 in Memphis as a reporter and then an evening anchor, and wanted to be behind the scenes. And so he grew a beard. And they immediately took him off the air.
Really?
And,
for growing a beard?
For growing a beard.
Wow. And what year would that have been?
This would have been 74.
Okay. So that's when beards were sort of synonymous with maybe counterculture or...
Maybe they still are.
Yeah. Well, as you can see, I still have one, although shorter than yours.
And so we went from Montgomery to Louisville, Kentucky, to Atlanta for one of many times, and Austin, Texas, and Orlando, and Atlanta, and Atlanta, and Orlando, and Atlanta. And then my career took me to Philadelphia. And at one point, somebody said, you can live anywhere you want as long as you have internet and an airport. So I spent 3 years looking for Hendersonville, and it found me instead.
Did your father imbue some of the journalistic inquisitiveness upon you?
Yeah, he always very curious, and always, when you come home at 10 years old with a story, he'd always slow you down and say, "Wait a minute, who's they? They said what? And what was it about?" And the whole who, what, when, where, how thing. And so my father was a storyteller, but he was a storyteller in little 1 and 3 minute increments. And it was usually about the stuff that happens on the news, which is not always very positive things. And so I always wanted to take that same storytelling, but tell fantasy stories. So that's why I thought I was going to get into the movie business.
Not like science fiction, but
just movies, theater, stage, the escapism, because I really think that's what we're in when we're in the entertainment business. This is the escapism business. Is you go to the Flat Rock Playhouse to get out of your head for 2 hours, to get out of your world, and they take you somewhere. And that's my ultimate goal when I put on a movie or have a concert or put improv comedians in a room. Is okay. Life can be life. People can be very people-y, but you know what? For 2 hours, follow me. We're going somewhere special.
We're going to be a little less people-y.
Yeah.
So 20 years ago, you arrived in Hendersonville. You knew that you wanted to be in the Smoky Mountains. It seemed like as good a place as any? Or had you done a little...
It was magic. So I rolled into Asheville and said, wow, I should have moved here when I was 30. I'm not cool enough anymore. And was about to move on to the next investigation. And so I kept seeing this little green cabin in the woods. It looked like a forest ranger station. It's right next to St. John of the Wilderness in the middle of Flat Rock. Right next to actually where the Bering home was, the first seasonal residence of Flat Rock. And so I got immersed in this history, but I had to come see that cabin, right? So we rolled into town, and they were just finishing the streetscape right here. What do they call this? The 100 block. They were just finishing the streetscape, and I'd always wondered if I rolled into the right town, would I feel it? Because I was looking for something that wasn't in Atlanta and not in Philadelphia. It was a sense of community. And sitting in front of Black Bear. Oh, I know where this story was going. We rolled into town, go to the Carolina Cottages rental company that had this cabin. Myself and the mother of my children, my ex-wife.
Okay.
And we went to the real estate office, which used to be right across the street from the historic courthouse. And it said closed for lunch. And I just thought that was very cute because I was coming here from, a city that never sleeps. And so we walked down to a restaurant that's changed names. We went and sat down in the middle of Main Street at a table outside of a restaurant, and saw mountains to the left and mountains to the right, and I felt it. And I wasn't sure what I felt. But I spent the next 5 years figuring out how I could get off the road and live here full time. Because that's really what happened was I found that I didn't need to go to the Smokies anymore. The mountains are right here.
Yeah.
And so I spent 4 or 5 years traveling for a living and realizing that it was a lot more fun to fly out of Philadelphia than it was to fly out of Hendersonville.
Can you fly out of Hendersonville? If you have a small Cessna, I guess you could. What were you doing in Philadelphia?
I worked for a co-op of independent distributors who serviced manufacturing. It was very sexy. It was a very difficult job to explain to your grandmother, but it fed my interest and love of small businesses, because what we did was help mom and pop distributors of electrical equipment, for example, and they've been serving the plant down the street for 100 years, 3 generations. But then in the 80s and 90s, manufacturers decided they needed to have consistent pricing and controls and lean manufacturing across North America. And the mom and pop, Mrs. Jones Electric down the street, can't service all the plants in North America. So we wrote contracts for these independents so they could go against the big boys like Grainger and Home Depot. And help the small entrepreneur compete on an international level.
Right.
Interesting work, being able to fly across the country and get to know people, and really found out that my sweet spot was as a translator. Being able to talk to the people on the shop floor and the manufacturing level, and translate their needs and wants to the C-suite.
So you speak businessese.
Yeah, I'm just dangerous enough, and I think people in blue collar jobs realize really quickly that I didn't go to college, and I think that helps me communicate with them better.
Yeah, it helps with trust too, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then that played very well in arriving here and wondering, okay, well, I love this little town, and I'd love to have a storefront, but what do I sell? You know, what is my product? What do I have that would add value to this community? And so I spent some time doing that while working for Mark Warwick at WTZQ Radio.
Oh, cool. He
gave me a license to go out and learn as much as I could about the community. The job was advertising and helping nonprofits with radio promotion, but it was really just a deep dive master's class in what's going on in Henderson County, who's doing what, and how can you get involved.
Is that where you develop your voice?
Yeah, I guess that's where I found it. My father knew that I wanted to do voiceover work as a young man. He said, the most important thing you can do if you ever want to do anything with your voice is listen to it, make yourself listen to it over and over and over again. And he would buy me tape recorders for Christmas and encourage me to listen to your voice over and over. And of course, I didn't want to do the work. But then working for a community radio station where you're constantly recording your voice and then hearing it all the time. And then having the opportunity to get a microphone from the city that I never gave back.
Oops. If you're listening, city, it's in his closet.
No, Mark played a big role in that too, because as a very involved community leader and business owner and a guy with a voice and energy, he did a lot of community master of ceremonies work, know. And the idea, the way I look at it is somebody needs to keep the event moving, keep it on time, mention all the sponsors 3 times, and try not to mess up the names of the people you introduce. That's the job.
You're very diplomatic when you're emceeing. I've heard you in action several times at Business Morning Update, and you always remember to thank the sponsors. You always remember you've got it down.
That's the gig.
Yeah.
It's fun, but going back to escapism, it's my escapism. It's actually the only time that I'm really comfortable is when I'm on the mic. So thanks for making me comfortable today. The coffee helps too.
That's great. That's great. I wish I could have given it to you, but I did not. Your mug says "the way home," and I think that's appropriate, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's all really I was looking for was a place where I could feel like I was part of something bigger. And something about what I love about this town is you can either get as involved as you want to, or you can hide in the woods. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's different based on what day it is.
Yeah, or you can do both.
Yeah, you can do both.
My wife and I were interviewed by Mark recently at WTZQ. And
the community radio station. He's one of the best interviewers in the business.
Huh. Yeah, he's good. He's real good. I was startled, admittedly, that radio is, I'm going to say, still a thing. Showing my age, I'm an old print journalist by trade originally, and print. There was a threat throughout my career that print would go away. Everybody would turn to a computer and get their news from a computer, which is at least partially true. But at the same time, people still like holding a magazine in their hands. They still like holding a book in their hands. A Kindle just doesn't replace the feeling of turning a page. And I think that in a way, I appreciate that Hendersonville appreciates that you can still hear a story without having to see the story. You can hear the story and let it touch you.
And even if it's subconscious, the idea that you can turn on the radio and in between songs, the person that's talking is here, right? It's not just the local ads and the greatest music of the 20th century. It's the fact that and that's what initially got me, is shortly after working here, years before I got to know Mark, was I turn on the radio and they're talking about stuff happening right down the street.
Mm-hmm.
And so our big little town, with 2 world-class hospitals and a world-class college and 2 newspapers and 2 magazines and 2 radio stations. I think that was what first got me, is those people, they're right down the street.
Yeah.
They're talking about something that's happening, right here.
Yeah.
And I think that's special. And they do so much more over there, but I think that's the thing for me, is hearing that you said they're telling that story, and it's our story.
Yep. And I guess that's kind of what fueled me to start this podcast, is I felt that there was another avenue, there was another media stream in which to put Hendersonville stories, Henderson County stories, Western North Carolina stories out there. And, we have a listener in England now, and it's just another way of reaching the masses and telling the story.
A lot
of the community.
Lot of stories here.
A lot of interesting stories.
It's a very interesting melting pot. As we could walk downstairs and you could meet somebody from the other side of the world for this, to have so many different reasons that people come here, that Hendersonville finds you.
Why are there so many interesting people here, do you think? I mean, like I have a theory why. Have you ever been to Key West? Mm-hmm. It's a different kind of place, mm-hmm. and there's some very interesting characters. I think that there's a certain type of person that goes to the very end of a road and stops, and we're not at the end of the road. Mm-mm. We're in the middle of a lot of roads, but we are isolated in a little bit of a sense. We're not exactly on the way between anything, except if you're driving from, Spartanburg to Asheville on I-26. But why do you think people gravitate here that have interesting stories?
I think there must be some kind of ancient burial ground with a magnetic field in it. No, it's interesting. I like to talk about the Kudzu Plateau. It's what the Native Americans called this little geographic thing we're on, to where, we're at what, 2,300 feet right here, but you can drive a few miles and be at 3,000 feet, right? But we've got mountains on 3 sides. And so did you ever notice, I'm not a weather expert, but have you noticed the storms that always come across? Because I'm from Memphis, right? You had a storm, you knew it was coming because it would, hit across Arkansas.
You see the blob on the map.
It's coming. It's coming right toward you.
Yep.
And when those storms, whether it's a summer storm or a winter storm, when they hit the Smokies, they divert or dissipate.
Yeah.
We always get hard when Atlanta gets hit hard.
Yeah.
It's like it comes up from the south, right? And I don't know. I think that, they call it the land of 4 seasons because we have such a temperate, mild climate. But I think it's more than that. I think this, it's kind of being held up, right? We're not in the valley, we're not in the high mountains, but it's like this little special spot.
Elevated. Yeah.
So maybe it is the flat rock. Maybe that's why the Native Americans went there, because it's magnetic.
Yeah. Well, Carl Sandburg was drawn to Flat Rock. Yeah. Thomas Wolfe used to roam around these parts.
He spent some time at the Skyland Hotel right there.
Yeah. So did F. Scott Fitzgerald, did he not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe there is something to your magnetic theory.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it's a little bit more out of our grasp than we know, right? We have our little reasons. Oh, I came here because I went to camp, or because I came to visit my grandmother, and or came to a close friend of mine, Steve DeRose, a songwriter who passed away last year. He moved here, like a lot of folks, take care of his parents, but he found a life and a world, and contributed to that life and that world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I'm going to stick with mystical. I think it's completely out of our realm to understand, but it causes the fact that you are not going to run out of great stories, because there's some really interesting people in this community who either have lived extraordinary lives and then came here to chill and rest, or they're still writing it.
Yeah. Well, I consider you one of them, my friend.
I'm just the luckiest guy you've ever met. That's all.
How so?
Because Hendersonville found me, and then I met Mark and learned more about this community. And then my best radio advertising client was a real estate agent. Said, you know what? Everything you've done in this life has prepared you if you ever want to do real estate. And so Chris Kruggs gave me a shot, and I learned about real estate, and it really hit on a level, because I was able to educate people about what I fell in love with, which was this area. And I became an expert of the communities and the lifestyles between here and the Tennessee border, because that's what I knew best. But the more I lived here full time, which is what radio and real estate allowed me to do, then my lifestyle and my life and where what I wanted to do and how I wanted to spend my time became here. And so my life has gotten really small, and I've got 2 grown sons in Charlotte that I need to go see more often, but they're only 2 hours away. But I don't dream of like Key West, and I don't dream of, it'd be nice to travel, but when I think about now that my sons are out of college, what do I want? It's certainly not a jet ski. But I do have toys, I have to admit. I told someone, I'm not really interested in any toys. But I have a really cool popcorn machine. I guess that would be a toy. But the ironic thing is I investigated investing in a local 1-screen independent movie theater, because I thought it would be a great way to promote my real estate business and my interest in nonprofit concerts. A lot of great musicians, a lot of great nonprofits. How can we make that a thing? More replicable with less work. And it turned out I love selling hot dogs. No, it turns out I love the escapism business. And it seems that this community thing that I've now become a part of can provide escapism of all kinds, and is really a canvas for all the community stuff that I'd hoped that I could figure out how to do. And so, yeah.
So you're a realtor. You have a theater, and you MC.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do when I grow up.
And it all kind of works somehow.
Somehow it does.
Yeah. I mean this is a compliment. You don't seem like your stereotypical realtor.
Well, no. I did give up the slacks and the sports coat. There's some really, really nice dressed real estate agents in the business. But there's a good chance on any given day that I'll need to crawl into a crawl space or climb into an attic so I can give my clients the best service. But I also feel like, going back to my love affair with Hendersonville, I feel like we live in paradise. And so while there was a time in my life I might call what I'm wearing today a Hawaiian shirt, it's a paradise shirt. It just means that I've found where I want to be. And the nicest restaurant, in my opinion, in Henderson County is Brandy's on Main. That's where you go to celebrate, right? Or when someone else is buying. And they'll seat me in this shirt. And so I decided that it was my uniform.
Are you sure you're not wanted, Bryan?
I'm not wanted, and I don't think my parking has gone out yet.
I can't tell if that's an authentic police vehicle or what that is exactly. Excuse me. Paradise shirt. Why don't we call it a Hendersonville shirt?
Because I bought a business in Flat Rock, and I want to be fair.
Oh, well, we can call it a Henderson County shirt if you want. A Four Seasons shirt. Because, I mean, it's fall. It's been getting a little chilly lately, but you still rock the
Well, thank you.
the shirts.
But you made a good point that I'm not a traditional real estate agent. First of all, they always told me, if you're not growing, you're dying. Well, I guess I'm dying because I'm not growing. It goes back to where I can. So where can I add the most value for my clients, my patrons, whether they're buying a hot dog or a house? I'm going to put that on the back of my card.
Should be your slogan.
Where can I add the most value? And while I used to add the most value, in Waynesville, because I grew up my whole life, going to that area, and I know it very well. Now, where's my life? It's in Hendersonville. And so being the Hendo realtor was always kind of my goal, and now it's the reality. And so I appreciate the opportunity to help less and less clients each year, focus on repeat clients and folks that specifically are interested in learning how they can live differently or better or newly in Henderson County. And so being able to spoil maybe 2 families and a nonprofit a year is kind of the business plan, which fits in very nicely to the fact that we've got a lot going on at the Flat Rock Cinema, but also this community has got a lot going on.
Absolutely.
And so as we gear up for the holidays, which is not just a fun reason to dress up the town, it's become another reason why people plan their visits to Henderson County. And so that's kind of neat to watch that evolve over the years. That people come home or come to visit or come downtown specifically because we become a Hallmark show.
And if you're interested in moving to Hendersonville, disregard the sirens you hear in the background.
That's the most police activity we've had in a decade, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sure they're helping an old lady cross the street.
There's a cat in a tree.
Well, they're not coming here, so that's a good sign. So where were we? So what's your format for the cinema? Because I've been there a bunch of times. I love small.
I'm so glad you asked.
Small seat theaters. That's where it's at, in my opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that. It's a 72. The way it's seated right now is 72. The previous owners did a great job. I learned a lot from their 20 years of operating the cinema. That they had tried a lot of configurations, and 36 traditional theater seats and 36 bistro tables is kind of the maximum you're going to fit in there. The fire marshal's 80, right. So it's a sweet spot. I think the future of the cinema is actually less seats, but that's not the format you asked me of the cinema. Before COVID, BC, up to 3 shows a day, 7 days a week. That was the movie business. The movie business may never, ever be that again. And it's not just because of COVID, because there's so many different ways that even Hollywood is making movies now. But the schedule, the core business that we're in as a cinema is first run movies Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. So of course, museums and theaters were the last things that were allowed to be open. And so they immediately just opened on the weekends. That's the minimum. If you're going to have first run movies, you got to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they brought the Tuesday matinees because that was the most popular. And so like many things when I took over the Flat Rock Cinema, being very careful to not change things until I knew better. We did not add more shows to our permanent schedule because, again, looking to where the organization can add the most value. So we're still going to maximize those shows and add shows when necessary, and even keep movies for 3 and 4 weeks when people can't get enough of it. But those other days are canvas for what else does the community want and need. And first was live music. The way it was built as a movie theater, it lends itself to a listening room where you can actually hear the band because of the acoustics, right. But also because of where our brains are when we walk into a theater. we sit down, the seats are facing there. We sit down and the lights go down. We be quiet and we listen to the performer. And we're blessed with a lot of great venues and a lot of cool places where you can hear local music. But often you and I are chatting while the musician's up there doing their thing. And so it's a different way of experiencing music. And so partnering with Ryan Taylor Price, who's my producer and partner on the Magnolia Concert Series, he helps me bring in musicians that we wouldn't normally be able to afford on a Saturday night. Yeah. So it works really well that Wednesday is one of our quiet nights that was not being utilized by the community. And now it's a vibrant series of musicians who want to come back. And that was the thing that surprised me, is that they told me it sounded good for the audiences, but the musicians are enjoying either playing where everyone's sitting down and being quiet, or for those larger touring musicians, being able to play a small, intimate 72 seat place when they're playing, for 3,000 in Nashville. But I guess the most fun that we're having is how hungry folks are for live comedy. And so again, recognizing who out there has that skill and that passion, that fire. And I started working with Jerry Fitzgerald. Yeah. And he brought me the Improvables. And they've had 15 shows, all sold out. People are so hungry. Monday is for comedies because everybody needs a laugh, especially on a Monday. And so you've got this night where nothing has been happening in the cinema consistently for 6 years. And through the group of the work of the Improvables, and then now Off the Cuff, a live improvised game show. Heidi Collins is our host, and she brings in 3 different regional improv actors each episode. And so you've got different contestants, and someone in the audience is going to win a prize. And so it was organic. Yeah. It wasn't, hey, let's do something on Monday night. No, it's, hey, we've been doing this really fun, funny thing in breweries. We'd like to see if we can sell tickets if people would sit down and watch it. And they love it. And so
improv is, I got to tell you, there's one thing to have a mic stuck in your face or a camera stuck in your face, but if you have to do that improv stuff, that whose line is it anyway type of stuff, I mean, that takes wit, sharp intelligence.
It also involves teachable skills. Mm-hmm. And so the improv was going so well, and these different types of improv and these different groups, and it's a community, right? Because these people are working on their craft. We now offer improv classes. So we just finished our second 6-week intro to improv class. Wow. So both of them were the introduction class. It was so well received, we had 2 students that took it twice. They weren't failed. We don't use that word. That's the F word at the cinema. And so we're excited about that kind of, again, we have a space. We have a space that is a listening room, and it has a screen, but it's a space. Because the business, it's a concession business, an advertising business, right? Because all of our ads on the screen are local organizations.
You've got eyeballs and you've got mouths to feed.
Correct. And so when you look at the business, how am I paying these employees? How are we investing in this new technology, brand new sound system? Thanks to partially from a grant from American Express, we were able to update our 20-year-old cinema sound system. And so now everything from the film to your ear is new. And so being able to maintain and improve the experience. Yeah. But it's really neat watching these things evolve. And so now we have movies on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. We have live music most Wednesdays through the winter in the spring. And then comedy at least once a month on Monday nights. Stay tuned for more. Wait a minute, Brian. What about Thursday nights?
Wait a minute, Brian. What about Thursday nights?
Well, hey.
Wardrobe malfunction.
So excited. I knocked my headset off. And so Steve Kirkland, a local musician and retired nonprofit executive, came to me and said, hey, I got an idea. I was like, all right, you got my attention. Let's talk about community and music. And so he brought the Jeff Michaels Folkadelic Jam group that he plays with, who have a longstanding reputation in our community and are out playing and working and creating great music. And they held a benefit concert for Conserving Carolina. And for me, it was a win-win-win. Is that a band, normally our musicians who play for us at the Magnolia Concert Series, they're selling $15, $20, $25, $30 tickets. It behooves them to not play within a radius, not just because of the contract, because they want to be able to sell the tickets. Local musicians who are out there, doing the work, they can't agree to a 30-day non-compete for 30 miles in every direction before and after. But they also, for that same reason, may not be able they may have a harder time selling $20 tickets to 72 people. But you partner them with a local organization. Now you've got a local band who gets to experience maybe what the big acts are playing in a listening room. They're setting a precedent because maybe this is the first time they're selling tickets. So now they can go to other venues and say, hey, look, I sold out a show at the Flat Rock Cinema. And a local nonprofit who did participate, but they weren't required to participate. And so that was the big thing for us. Was it the biggest check they received this year? No. But it didn't necessitate a board committee. It wasn't necessary to go out and find 50 sponsors. All the things, the work, the volunteer work, the staff work, the concentration that the nonprofits have to put on going out and connecting with the community and getting their attention and raising funds and awareness. I had a band that wanted to do exactly what I wanted to do, which was let's make it more turnkey for them to where all they have to do is show up and take the check. And so from that, I've already had 2 more requests from local bands. And again, it goes back to the organic approach, right? We've got something that works, but it works best when I've got an artist who's already got a connection or wants a connection and wants to do the right thing and has a cause in our community that they want to do something about. They need a venue.
Yeah. You're giving them a stage and a spotlight.
Yeah.
You're kind of a talent incubator, aren't you?
And maybe some folks would say I still need a little bit more incubation, like I need a little bit more of that lamp on me, but I'm not done cooking yet.
Yeah.
I think you're realizing the same thing by collecting these stories. There's all of these ideas and perspectives and stories and experiences in this magnetic place we call Hendersonville.
Yeah.
And if you've got a tool or a process or a podcast or a listening room, why not find out what else, who else could do something better than you could do with it, right? Remember remember my father was in television, so I got to watch as much television as I wanted. And so my head is full of pop references. But one of my favorite commercials back in the 80s was BASF. And the only thing I knew, BASF, I knew with the cassette tapes. They made the cassette tapes that we used to bootleg music.
Oh yeah, remember those? The old mixtape.
They had a great commercial in the 80s, and because it was a very dynamic company that made a lot of different things. And their slogan was BASF. We don't make the things you buy. We make the things you buy better.
Yep.
Right? And so I don't make movies. I don't make music. And I'm really not that funny.
Yes, you are.
But the goal of the the Flat Rock Cinema in connecting with Hendersonville and Henderson County is being that instigator, agitator, incubator. I like that one too.
I like that. Feel free to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Flat Rock Incubator.
Well, I'm picturing, one of those incubation lights that they put on the chickens, and that's just like the light that's keeping my popcorn warm.
Right. The sights and sounds of Hendersonville.
I think it's all for me.
They're towing your car, Bryan. There's something kind of tribal, isn't there, about going to the theater? I like putting on my sweatpants, watching a movie at home. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's something about going to a theater and seeing on a big screen with big sound, getting the popcorn. There's something tribal about that, where you're sharing that experience with others.
Shared experience.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know anybody else in the room, right? It's a shared experience. And I have something emotional and something scientific to share with you when it comes to that. Yeah. The scientific part is I found in my experience that there's a breaking point for an audience. And this is for live theater and for movies, is if people are going to laugh, if there's less than 20 people in the audience, you need to plant somebody in there to laugh. Audiences of 19 or less, no one wants to be the first one to laugh.
Interesting.
Now, the bell curve gets thrown off when somebody like me is in the room, because I'm not a plant. I'm easily amused.
Which is perfect for your line of work.
And so, yeah, just exploring how can this space be used, right? And so it's an afternoon and evening business for the most part.
And it allows you to do your day job.
And allows me to do my day job, but it also allows for how else can the community benefit from the space?
Yeah.
And so financial advisors have luncheons so they can meet with their clients. Again, they're using the space. We might be catering or playing some music, but the idea is they need a place to have that collective experience.
Well, it is a great space, great programming. I heard once that you claim to have the best popcorn in Henderson County. Is that still your claim?
It is, and it hasn't been contested yet.
Okay, well, I won't disagree.
I have been known to say it's the best popcorn in the universe.
In the universe,
but in parentheses and asterisk underneath is it's my universe.
Okay,
and my universe pretty much goes as far as the Acosta does now, which means about Horseshoe, I start to lose connectivity. If I have to switch to the AM signal or to my app for WTZQ radio, then I start to shake a little bit and I have to return to the mothership.
So Hendersonville is truly your world.
It is.
Yeah. And your universe.
Yeah.
What do you got going on in December? And then second part, what are you looking forward to in 2026?
All right. So November's not done yet. November 28th.
No, it's not. But by the time this airs, it might be almost done.
All right.
So let us know what we can look forward to in December.
I will be resting from introducing Santa on Black Friday. But in December, got a really cool movie coming up in the second week of December 5th, Blue Moon. Ethan Hawke.
Okay.
In a role that you would not expect him in because he's not the superhero. He's a meek, balding fella.
Well, like Gen X, he was kind of a Gen X icon, and now he's balding. So yeah.
But it's a true story. It involves Broadway, and you need to check out the trailer. But we love true stories and great good storytelling, and this is a movie that is probably not going to be hugely advertised on billboards, but it's good storytelling.
Yeah.
And the Wilder Flower and Admiral Radio are two Magnolia concerts that we have the first 2 Wednesdays of December. The Wilder Flower returning maybe for their 4th show. A wonderful group of ladies who are traveling the world with their talent and bluegrass music. And Admiral Radio, a band that, while are not on the tips of everyone's tongue yet, it's estimated that within 3 weeks of this concert, in the first week of December, that you'll hear people on Main Street saying, "Hey, you know that hot band Admiral Radio that's everywhere? I saw them at this little place in Flat Rock."
And then you'll know it was all worth it.
Yes, and a new tradition that happened by accident at the Flat Rock Cinema is we are looking forward to securing a Timothée Chalamet movie for Christmas. Our inaugural year, we had Wonka, and then last year was the Bob Dylan biopic, which I think we kept for 4 weeks. And then this year, he's got a true story coming out, Marty Supreme, true story about a ping pong player. And the subtitle of the movie and his mantra was "Dream Big." And I connect with that very well. First of all, because I'm a dreamer. But my mantra for as long as I can remember is "Dream big and act swiftly." Because I'm an idea man. I throw out ideas all the time.
Me too.
But you acted on it though.
Do you have a hard time executing?
No, I do not have a hard time making decisions either. And when it comes to execution and decisions, that means I screw a lot of stuff up.
Dreamers that can execute, though, I think that's a rare breed. I give you credit.
Well, the key is whatever you're doing, keep doing it. If it's important, then find a way to make it sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I think about what I'm excited about in 2026, it's not, are we providing the right experiences? Are we booking the right films? Do we have the right marketing? It's really about, are we building sustainable experiences, right? Are we setting this up so that the movies can continue, so that the music continues to be created here, are we adding to the magnetism, right? Because that's what I feel like I'm doing is this town allowed me to reinvent myself and create a new life and create a new idea of what I wanted my life to look like and what am I working for? What is retirement? And so the rest of my time is a love letter to Hendersonville. And if I was able to draw from that magnetism, what else can I put back into it?
I like that.
So yeah, I'm excited about having the opportunity to contribute. And if they ask me to take a microphone, I'll do it. But it's really about finding that place that you can give. And one of the ways I can give my time is a microphone. The other way I can give my time is serving on the board of Thrive. And I just wanted to give them a plug because it's an organization that when I first heard about it, they were working on fighting the stigma of talking about mental health in our family, in our communities, in our schools, in our workplaces. And then I learned more, and like a lot of organizations in this town, if you're curious, you'll find that these organizations are a lot deeper than that one program that you found out about.
Yeah.
And then I learned about the connection of mental health and housing stability and the connection between the two.
Yeah.
Losing your housing can cause mental health, and mental health can cause you to lose your housing.
Yeah.
And it's an organization that's working on both. And again, it's just one of those stories.
Yeah. It's taken me a long time to realize that mental health is really the base layer underlying a lot of the issues that we see in our society today. And you can take care of some of the aesthetic elements of these people's lives, but you have to address that base layer or you're going to continue to have problems, it seems to me, just from what I've observed.
I'm an optimist. And one of the things that I've seen change over time, and I think, again, COVID may have played a part in it, is I don't sense that stigma as much anymore, right?
Yeah. Is
people aren't afraid to find out, for their friends to find out they talk to a therapist. Oh my goodness, there must be something wrong with you. And I think things have changed, and there's still people out there that are afraid to talk about it or afraid to get help. or think there's something wrong with them. But it's gotten so much better to the point the pendulum has swung. Now it's hard to get an appointment with a therapist.
Yeah.
and so now we have to make sure that now that we're talking about it, we build an infrastructure so that people can get that help.
Yeah.
And so thanks for letting me throw that in. It just,
of course.
It has a lot to do with my love affair with this town. Is that the reason why we have all these, my theory on why we have all these thriving nonprofits is, first of all, we have a lot of need.
Yeah.
But then you also have folks that are willing to give their time and their talents. And some people can write checks, and you've got these small businesses, because the big businesses, the manufacturers, the big employers, they do a great job. The car dealers, they write big checks to help these organizations, stay afloat. But when you go to these events and you look at what's going on with the day-to-day support of the nonprofits, and it's these mom and pops, it's these independent businesses, they're going out of their way to give of themselves.
Yeah.
To figure out how they can do more than just sell donuts on the corner.
Right.
And you can walk to any of these businesses and they all have a cause or a mission or something else they're doing besides trying to sell donuts.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes this place so cool.
Yeah. Well, my other hat, the marketing business, we're a small business. We know the trials and tribulations of owning a small business, and we just want to complement that, so it does give you a good window into these business owners' lives and
a lot of depth.
so you help with the escapism, you help people escape reality, but you still have one eye on the folks that help reel people back into reality as well.
Sometimes, and I think that if you make it fun, if you educate people and give them the opportunity, more often than not, they're going to surprise the heck out of you.
Yeah.
And so, example, our current menu of escapism includes 8 more shows of Wicked, the re-release, right? Yeah. And we're having fun with it. We've added 4 of those 8 shows are open caption, encouraging folks to sing along. And so we never want people to be surprised and walk into a show that's a sing along. But this Saturday at 2:30 and 6:30, and then also on Tuesday at 2:30 and 6:30, the captions will be on the screen, and folks are encouraged to sing it out.
If you ever had to ask somebody to leave because
not yet, but call me on Saturday. But we're also have partnered with Rhino Rental and Rule Your World Marketing to have a food drive at the cinema through Thanksgiving. Cool. We're encouraging folks to stop by and bring us the canned and non-perishable foods. There's a list on our website of the specific things that they're asking for at the storehouse of Henderson County. And it's fill the container. Rhino Rental has these great little containers they can drop in your driveway. That's about the size of a car. We're going to have one out there later today so people can see it. And then next week, we're going to use that to transport the donated goods.
It's a great idea.
And to reward them for their generosity. If you bring in an item, even if you're not coming to a show, what's been really cool is people are showing up and they're, I don't have time for a movie today, but I wanted to make sure and drop off their donations. And again, you just make it fun and let people know, and they show up every time. And so, yeah, we're escaping into Wicked, but we're also, as you walk in the lobby and you walk back out, and you remember that you'll get reminded that there's some folks that might be going to bed hungry tonight.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's the website?
flatrockcinema.com.
Okay, cool. Where does your story go from here?
Oh boy. It's interesting when you realize you pick your head up and you've been hustling, you've been headed towards survival, and then you lift your head up. And I've loved watching small business owners in different roles and getting to know all these entrepreneurs. And let's go back to the donut. They make the donut. They make the best donuts in town, and they get so busy they have to teach somebody else to make the donut. And then they take a big leap and they put someone between them and the customer and hire them to hand them the donut. That's hard. Then they train somebody to manage those 2 people. Then they really get their head out of the weeds. And I've seen them do one of 2 things. And I'm not there yet, but I'm going to do 1 or 2 things. Is take more time off or expand. And so that's kind of the pattern that I've seen. I'm like, okay, well, what are you going to do? You're going to take some time off? You're going to expand? And all I can really think of that I want more of is maybe more days in the week. I don't know. Next year and the year after that, and if I get a year after that, I'd like to find out how I can reveal another Jerry Fitzgerald or another Ryan Taylor Price that has this talent and this idea and this drive, and they just need somebody else to go, oh, well, use this stage. So yeah, I guess that's really what I'm excited about is who's got better ideas than me.
How do you do that while making the donut better? That's the question.
That's the thing, man. That popcorn cannot get in. My donut is already perfect.
So you're telling me you not only have the best popcorn in the universe, you have the best donuts in the universe?
No, we don't have donuts yet.
Yeah. Well, there's an idea right there. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, my favorite movie.
You can tell a lot about a person by their favorite movie, I think.
Yeah. My favorite movie is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Is that the original?
1976, yeah.
That's a good one.
We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams. You know, growing up watching that movie, yeah, I would have loved to have a chocolate fountain, but it wasn't about the candy. It was about his attitude. And so found it very serendipitous, the process of having the idea of partnering with Howard to purchase the cinema and then owning the cinema. It was a very compressed period of time. And then after the ink dried, to find out that the new Wonka was coming out. And it didn't matter if people were upset that it was being remade again. It was the fact that it was, So, yeah, that's the one. So I believe in snozberries very much.
And I think you got the golden ticket.
I did.
Yeah. Well, thank you, B Squared. I appreciate you coming on, and can't wait to see where the rest of the story takes you.
Oh, me too. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Bryan.
The Kudzu Project is made possible by the Lucy Agency, helping businesses across the South grow deep roots and stand out. Based in Hendersonville, North Carolina, this full-service marketing firm builds handcrafted websites, eye-catching logos, and social media that pops for businesses and organizations. Because if your story's worth telling, it's worth telling right. Learn more at lucyagency.com. That's LUCEY agency.com.
Everyone has a story, and at the Kudzu Project, we want to hear yours. Go to kudzuproject.com and fill out our story submission form. You can write your story for us to read on the podcast, request to be interviewed, or even nominate someone else whose story deserves to be told. The Kudzu Project is all about capturing the voices and spirit of our community, and your story could be the next one we share. Visit kudzuproject.com and tell your story today.